to me,
side.
just
I'm used to rap side.
Alright, cool. So we've gone live with the stream. I'm just gonna wait till it comes up on my browser so I can double check. Yeah, press group up with me and I'll teleport you here.
Okay.
Oh, I got you. Got me. Let me just see if anyone else from Guild wants to join. Join.
Sandra joined your channel.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
I hope you're in an ops group ready place. Oh, you're the group leader. You make an ops group.
Oh yeah.
Invites up.
Yeah. I'll give you the burden.
Alright, cool. Like I said, the stream is live. I'm just sorting out the group now. A few people. Yeah, we're in an alright layout. I think this is my stuff item. Cool. Alright, well, we'll just go with the group that we got. So, yeah, stream looks really dark for some reason. It's like the colours are really oversaturated.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to tinker with that another time. I'm not gonna do it now. So, alright, cool. Well, yeah, alright, I'm gonna summon the group. I'll get everyone here and then we'll start. Cool. That gets you all here. Message goes out. Yeah, it's a shame about the colours, I have to admit. I think it's because there was an update to the software that I'm using. And, yeah, it must have reset the colours. Seems to be about 20-30 second delay. Don't mind. Alright, cool. So, yeah, are you here? Where are you? There you are. Alright, I'm closing chat for the meantime. Yeah, alright, great. Well, I think this is the 11th Strut My Wookie training session. Tonight it's PvE Sniper, which is going to be led by Egret, who's on Argandan? Is that
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Alright, cool. So, yeah, well, that's it. I don't need to say anymore. It's over to you.
Okay, basically, tonight I'm going to be talking more about the virulent spec. Though if anyone has any questions about engineering or marksmanship, feel free to ask. Because at some points I've mained them all. Now I'm going to start talking more about not spec related stuff, more about offensives, defensives, which are basically similar to on all three specs. So basically, yeah, people usually say snipers are god when it comes to defensives and surviving. So yeah, I'm gonna start
Boba joined your channel.
Talking about defensives. Hello, user. So when it comes to defensive, snipers have a few of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, one of the it's used the most is basically the shield probe. What does it do? It absorbs a more amount of damage for 10 seconds. That's really good both on PvE and PvP in case people are interested. It's really good to get you out of a bad situation in case you take a phase, you take a lot of damage. It's really good to negate that damage. Then we have a god defensive called Evasion, which gives you 200% immunity to any damage for 3 seconds. Well, melee and ranged attacks basically. Not all like the Sorcerer God Bubble, but it's a really good defensive for 3 seconds. Then we have our Entrench. I was about to use a Republic skill. What does it do? You become immune to control effects, knockbacks, interrupts for 20 seconds. And then we have of course our Aggro Drop. And now what was best, which is basically after 4.0, we got all of this double by using the Imperial Preparation skill. Too bad it has a 2-minute 30 cooldown or 3-minute cooldown, depending if you use the utility point to reduce the timer. Then you have your evasion, your shield probe, your aggro drop, and your entrenched again. Now you also have your career escape, which is basically snipers are known for it. Basically you can roll 18 meters forward, which is really good to get you out of a bad spot or AoE, or if you are in a moving part on a fight, it's really good. And then also a thing that only snipers have, or shield, that lasts 20 seconds and give all the people under it a 20% damage reduction. It's a 10 meter radius. Now, that's basically the defensives, which are pretty cool. Then the snipers have offensives as well. Well, of course, besides the regular Adrenal, which is for all the classes, we have our laser targets, which increase the critical chance hit of your next ambush. In this case, it's for marksmanship. Explosive probe, which is for engineering, and call, which is for virulence. And then we have our target acquired, which increases the range and attack accuracy by 30% and armor penetration by 15% for 10 seconds. So if you're on a burn phase of a fight, or even on your opener, you want to do a must burst as you can. Burst, of course, on the dot spec doesn't really go that well, but you know what I mean. If you want to burn as much as you can, of course, use your offensive like on any other class. Now, when it comes to gear, as you can see, I'm basically full 224. Besides my offhand barrel, I do have the token, but I haven't traded it yet. And I have some people. I'm pretty much close to the ultimate stack. Some people like to have a bit less alacrity and more crit, but it's a really high depend energy spec, so I would acquire having really high alacrity, of course, not disregarding crit, of course. You have the accuracy cap, of course, that you have to hit it like on any other class. The minimum 110%, which on full 224 will get you to 701, or in percentage 110.19. Then I have 12,029 critical and 942 alacrity. The relics, like on any of the DPS, have the mastery relic and the power, or focus of retribution and serendipitous assault. Okay, now more offensives, defensives. Okay, now start talking about utility points. There's, depending on the fight, there are several that I use. For example, on skillful, let me see. Yeah, at the moment I have snapshots, which while you go in cover, you have your free snipe or lethal shot instantly, which can be useful in some fights. You don't have to do the 1.3 second channel. More. I have my cover screen. When exiting cover, you increase your range defense by 20% for 6 seconds, which is really good if you are in a very moving fight. So if there's taking like area damage or AoE damage and you need to move, you have more defense while you're moving, and then you get in cover again to get all your passives. Then you have, yeah, I use the one that while in cover you heal for 1% of your total health for 3 seconds. On hard fights I used to say that every point counts, and that's not just on DPS, that's also on helping the healers, besides of course retaining your cooldowns. So at the moment I'm healing for around 800 of my health while in cover each 3 seconds, I said? Yeah, 3 seconds. Now, this is the 3 ones I have at the moment, which is basically on skillful. Then on masterful, I have augmented shields, which increases the amount of damage absorbed by shield probe by 30%, so which is even cool. I usually like to use a lot of defensive utilities to make sure that I survive, because sometimes survival is more important than doing high numbers, which it still does, so it's not big of a worry. Then another really good one, pillbox sniper, which does reduce the cooldown of entrench for 15 seconds and cover pulse knocks targets back an additional 5 meters. This is, for example, really good if you're doing on Raven to knock the blades away. Of course, having entrench off cooldown sooner, it's always a really help. Now on heroic, siege bunker reduce all area effect damage taken by 60% while entrench is active. So yeah, if you have entrench active, you take less damage. And then deployed shields reduces the damage taken while in cover by 5% and reduces the cooldown of ballistic shield by 30 seconds. Yeah, it's this one. Instead of having a 3-minute cooldown, I have it on 2 minutes and a half. Now of course they're useful utility points. For example, on the first tire on skillful, right, the first one, which is ballistic dampers. Entering cover grants 3 charges of ballistic dampers. Each charge absorbs 30% of damage dealt by incoming attack. Yeah, so basically while you're in cover, you take even more damage. Imperial efficiency increases the damage dealt by suppressive fire by 25%. This is basically on the heavy AoE fight. I would say, for example, like a bit on Draxes maybe, especially on Corruptor 0 where you have to AoE down the ads fast. So yeah, besides doing a dot spread, which is a dot spec, I'll be there in a second, but yeah, you want to have more AoE firepower on fights like that. More, let me see. Yeah, that's basically the ones I usually use. There are other good utility points, but they are more directed to PvP.
Do you find yourself respecking a lot frequently?
Well, depend on the fights. Basically the utility points, yeah. But I mainly play virulence for most of the fights. Maybe one fight or another one I respect to engineering, because sadly marksmanship has been nerfed to the ground. But yeah, fights, for example, Council hard mode, Dread Council hard mode. Well, I haven't done it on NIM, so I'm speaking about hard mode experience. Doing the kiting of Raptus, yes, Raptus. I've did with both virulence and engineering, but I prefer doing on engineering because it's a more mobile spec. So yeah, but pretty much on all the other fights that I usually do, I usually use virulence. But then, depending on the fights, I use different utility points. Now, virulence. Basically, the rotation I use, it's an old 3.0 rotation of the 2-core rotation. A lot of people are gonna say, oh, but the 3-core rotation is way better, does more damage, blah blah blah. Well, that's their own opinion. I like to use the 2-core rotation because it's still very viable on most of the fights. Yeah, I believe that the 3-core rotation does more damage, but it's also more energy dependent, and I rather play it well and play it safe. And though even with the 2-core rotation you can run out of energy if you spam it too hard. So but basically it's a dot spec, so it depends, like on every dot spec apply your dots and then burn the crap out of a target, which is a boss, an ad, a group of mobs, whatever. So basically we have 2 main dots, which is corrosive dart, which will do a certain amount of damage during 24 seconds. Then we have a corrosive grenade, which will do damage to all targets within 5 meters for 24 seconds as well. And what it also does, it acts as a dot spread. So basically, if a target is infected by a corrosive dart, while you use your corrosive grenade, you spread the corrosive dart damage to all the enemies on a 5-minute radius. Then we have a weakener, which is called Weakening Blast, which also does some damage, but that's not its main function. Basically, it increases the damage. No, sorry, it does damage whenever you use a call, which is basically the main skill of a virulent sniper, or a poisonous effect. Yeah, that's basically what Weakening Blast does, exactly. Then we have the main skill of the Viron spec, which is basically coal. Which, if you don't have dots backing it, it doesn't do that much damage. It does like maybe 2,000-3,000 damage over its channel, which is a 2.7 channel, which isn't that much. So you need to have your dots on it, your weakening blast, which is a weakener if off cooldown, and then a coal. Then it will do way more damage. Now each coal, what will do, it will proc your takedown, which basically it's your, as a solo hit, it's your hardest hitter skill basically. Of course you have other skills that do more damage over channel, but as a single hit is your hardest hit skill, which it can vary between a 5k hit or a 15k hit depending if you have a crit or not. Now, okay, continue speaking about the skills that we have. We have lethal shot, which does a certain amount of damage right on hitting, and then it does extra internal damage right after. And then we have our series of shots, which is our second, let's say our second main skill besides the dots. So we have the concept, we have series of shots, which does some good damage, even if without dots on it, but always recommend to have dots on the target that you're hitting. So basically, you need to have your dots in, your weakener, your cool working. It will proc a takedown, of course. So that's basically your main opener. Applying your dots, applying your cool, and then you have a proc on takedown. So of course this is the rotation that I'm speaking. I'm just basically speaking about the different skills that you have. This is basically all the skills that you use. Of course on the opener you can and should always start with a flyby. It's basically free damage right before the fight starts, but that's basically on every spec of sniper. So you basically, the main rotation goes around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skills, without counting defensives and offensives, of course. Talk about it, only skills, which goes on your 2 dots, your corrosive dart, your corrosive grenade, then you have your weakener, which is weakening blast, then you have your coal, then you have lethal shots, you have series of shots, then you have a takedown. So basically, between the 2 cool rotation and 3 cool rotation, the skills are always these ones. But the difference between those 2 rotations is while your dots are active, you do 3 calls on your rotation, and with the 2 cool rotation, you do 2 calls and then you refresh your dots, maybe with 2-3 seconds left before your dots expire, which is basically how I raid these days, and I do very well with it. So now the main rotation on it. I'm just gonna do maybe a couple of rounds of rotation, and then I'm gonna explain it. I start with a flyby. I apply my dots, my weakener. Then I use offensives. I go straight for a call, proc takedown, series of shots, a lethal shot as a feeler, then another call, another takedown proc. Then I refresh my dots while they have a couple seconds left on it, and then that's basically it. I did a 7.8k opener, which it's not the baddest, but it's not the worst, but it's not the best I've done as well. But well, basically you just need to keep your rotation up. But now, yeah, this is single target basically, but as every dot spec, it's going single target, but basically lives on fights that you have adds, or you have a couple of bots that are close to each other. So mainly what you want to do is do a dot spread, which is basically what a dot spec lives from. So on a fight, let me see. Yeah, fights with lots of adds, of course you can do dot spread and that will throw your damage through the roof. But also fights where you're hitting 2 targets. Let me think. Yeah, for example, walkers on the Temple of Sacrifice, the second boss, SWAT Squadron. While you're hitting unit 1, you can always do a double dot. So basically you dot unit 2 and then go back to unit 1 and keep DPSing. and you can do that on numerous fights. For example, Master and Blaster. If you are on the Blaster detail, the little droid that spawns, you can always dot Blaster, the big droid, and then go back to Master. Basically, all the fights that reading more than one target, you can always do a double dots. Let me think. Scum and Villainy, Carter Warlords. You're basically focusing on burning one down, but you can always dot the other bosses that are there as well. Yeah, basically, dot spread or a double dot. That's basically what a virulent sniper lives from, and then it's basically keeping your dots up. But be careful of not double dotting too many targets, otherwise you're gonna burn your energy down. So you need to play wisely with your energy. Yeah, and then there's the priority system. Of course, basically use your weakening blasts. I wouldn't say on cooldown, but pretty much use it wisely. Because imagine if you are killing an ad. Imagine you're doing Brontes and you're doing your rotation, you have your weakening blast on cooldown. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. You're doing Brontes, you do the first phase, and then you get to the phase which is in the middle, then you have Cafes spawning from sides. Imagine you have your weakening blast on cooldown because you did on Brontes, you switch to Cafes, you use your dots, you're doing your rotation, and Cafes is like, I don't know, 20-15% live, and you have all the DPS bashing down on it, then your weakening blast goes off cooldown. You won't gonna waste it there because it's gonna be a waste, because Cafes is gonna be dead in like 2 seconds. So basically what you're gonna do, you save it, and once you're back on main boss, and then you use it. Basically, there are a system of priorities that guys usually say to basically use on cooldown, but it's not like that. You need to use them wisely, otherwise you're gonna be wasting a weakener or a good skill on a dead target, and then you won't be maximizing your DPS. So basically you have to use your priority system, but wisely as well. Like for example, on a fight when there is a small ad that spawns, yeah, basically to maximize your damage you have to apply dots, and it's something that you need to kill fast. Sometimes you basically don't have time to apply dots, so basically you want to have a takedown on right procced, so there's an ad, you switch, you hit, and then your DPS meanwhile will kill that ad for you. Basically you're just basically helping out, because by the time you're applying dots you won't have time to make those dots worth, because that ad will be dead by then. So basically you want to conserve your energy, make sure you're not really burning it, and you want to do as much DPS as you can, but being wise, because as I said, energy, if you screw your rotation, or your rotation, not really a rotation, because you can really do sometimes your own rotation on a fight with target switching, ad spawning, sometimes using an AoE, so rotation is not really a big thing. Of course there's the main rotation, but sometimes you need to deviate from it to depending on the fight that you are, depending on mechanics and stuff like that. But basically main rotation, it's applying your dots, corrosive dart, corrosive grenade, your weakener, your call. Now this next part, some people differ. I usually use my takedown right on proc, but some people like to use a lethal shot first and go into a series of shots and then go on the takedown proc. But that's basically where you can play a bit on virulence. You can't play that much around, but that's the only part that you can really play. It's that part of rotation. What you do after your call, or you use your lethal shots, or you go straight for the takedown procs, or you go on a series of shots. But basically you have to use all those skills, but those 3 skills after call you can play with them, basically what you want to do. Or if you really on a burn phase and you don't want to waste 1.3 seconds doing a channel, go straight for damage, go straight for series of shots or a proc takedown. That's basically up to you on the part that you are on a fight. Now offensive, when to use your offensive on your rotation. Yeah, of course on an opener, I would recommend an opener, both lace target, which will in this spec increase the critical hit of your call, your target acquired, which increases your armor penetration and your accuracy, and then your classic adrenal. Yeah, some people use them on different parts of rotation, but I rather have a really powerful opener, So when I use them all at the same time. So basically what I do on my opener, I start with Orbital Strike, I apply my dots, my weakener, and then I use all my cooldowns at the same time, then go for a call, which becomes a really powerful call. I use my takedown, I go for series of shots, lethal shot, and then call again. Of course, I'm doing it slowly so the damage is not being that much, but that's basically the opener, and then just rinse and repeat. I reapply dots, weakening blast, cool, proc takedown, series of shots, lethal shots, lethal shot. It's a simple rotation, the 3-cool rotation, of course. It's basically you do your rotation, then it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. But basically, make sure that on a fight that you have more than one target. I'm here basically just hitting the dummy, so it's easy to do rotation. But now on operations environment, it's completely different. Of course, you're hitting the boss, you're doing your rotation, but there are adds, there are mechanics that you need to do. Basically, if the head has enough HP, if you see that it has enough HP, like I would say 100k or 100k plus HP, you have time to apply your dots, even if you have 4 DPSs or more eating that target. So always apply 1 or your 2 dots, maybe not waste your weakening blast, and go for a call. Or if you see that Yad is gonna down fast enough, don't place your call on cooldown because you're gonna need it for the boss. Yes, apply your dots, and then go for a series of shots. Or if you have a proc takedown, use your proc takedown. Make sure to use your priority system wisely, depending on what you are hitting. If you are hitting the boss, yeah, bring all the hell down on it. Bring all your skills on the right order. But if you're killing an ad, be wise to not waste a good skill off cooldown that you might need it 2 or 3 seconds later to eat the boss, which is basically what you want to kill. Well, I think I've basically covered all the aspects, what I have to say: defensives, offensives, rotation, offensives, when to use them.
On that last bit with the raids, what do you
Yeah.
think the biggest mistakes that snipers tend to make on bosses?
Sorry, ask again?
What do you think the biggest mistakes that a sniper makes in raids is?
Biggest mistakes. Overuse their energy. So trying to dot spread too much to maximize damage. Say, oh yeah, I'm doing 6-7k damage, I'm the best. And then, oops, where's my energy? I'm done. One of the mistakes, yes. But sometimes trying to do too much dot spread or double dotting, you end up wasting too much time, and then your DPS will end up dropping. Another mistake. Another one, very classic. Oh, there's a red circle, but I'm right in the middle of my call. Crap, I'm dead.
Yeah,
Or
I've
you
had
are
that as a healer, looking at them screaming.
yeah, especially because you're a healer. Move, but I'm right in the middle of my call. Yeah, of course you can use a cooldown, but it's gonna interrupt your call anyway, so you might just well move out of the red circle.
What do you think are some of the best fights for a sniper, and what are the
Best
worst?
fights for a sniper, or at least fights that I really enjoy as a sniper, I would say SWAT Squadron on TOS, hard mode, story mode, whatever. Because of the double dot, of course you can get really unlucky and get all the red circles on you, and you might have to interrupt some calls, but well, it's part of the game. Yeah, SWAT Squadron, I really like it. I would say Draxus, I really like because you can dot spread. Corruptors is quite fun as well. Carter Warlords on Scum and Villainy, I really like it as well. Dread Council. Doing the kiting or not doing the kiting, I really like doing it as a sniper. More fights. Oh, of course. First boss on TFB. Second boss, you can do a dot spread if they are close enough. Yeah, Operator, no, not really. Cafes, of course. I would say Kefas because if you're doing engineering, you have your area dot, but it's kind of a static area dot, so if the boss moves, it won't do any damage. That's why I prefer virulence to engineering on most fights, because if you had a fight where the boss is moving too much and your area dot on engineering sometimes might prove useless. The third boss on basically all the bosses on Dread Fortress, Bronted is kind of meh, but yeah, still doable. More operations. Well, I'm not even going to speak about KP and EV because, well, on EC, depending. Second boss, I don't really like it on the tanks because if you do a dot spread under the shield, you're gonna kill it, and if you don't do it, your DPS is gonna drop. On Minefield, you want a burst spec, but still doable. Kefas, if you do a dot spread under those big shields, you're probably gonna die unless you use the defensive. More basically, some guys say they are good on some fights, on others they are hard, but I would say it's good on all the fights, hard mode level.
Have you had a look at the changes coming with 5.0 for snipers?
Yeah, I did. On this spec, there's going to be a difference between corrosive grenade and weakening blast, but that's on the virulence spec. But on overall snipers, they're going to become even better. Evasion is going to last for 5 seconds instead of 3. So, yeah, that's going to be massive. Your ballistic shield, I didn't really quite understand. I know it's going to heal yourself, but I'm not sure if it's going to heal all the members inside of the group of the shield. I didn't really quite understand, but I know it's going to heal yourself for some amount of HP. I'm not sure. I don't quite remember. So yeah, snipers are going to be even better on 5.0, which I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the coolest looking classes, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, all the classes that I play besides sword killing are going to be gods. Merc, they're going to be better. Jug, tank, they're going to be better. Sadly, sword kills appear to be kind of nerfed. We'll see how it is. Anyway, that was basically what I had to say about snipers. So if anyone has any questions, go for it.
You can write them in Twitch if you're just watching the stream, or in TeamSpeak or Guild Chat, or ask them if you're here.
Is there many people watching Twitch stream?
It's about 10, and then it dropped down to about 6. It's up and down. It's mainly been the YouTube crowd that have been, you can see it in the view counts afterwards, people catching up and stuff.
Okay.
It's good. Alright, well, it doesn't look like there's any questions.
Well,
cool.
If anyone has any questions later, feel free to contact me. Even if someone plays Gunsling on Republic side, feel free to ask me as well, because I've raided and still raid sometimes on the Republic side with my Gunslingers. So, yeah, I'm quite comfortable to answer those questions people want, even on other specs, marksmanship, engineering, or dirty fighting, saboteur, and sharpshooter for Republic side. If anyone ever has any questions, feel free to contact me.
We're on the Reddit Clips server, by the way, if you're not too sure.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help.
Oh yeah, and if you do want to get in touch later, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatnot, put a comment there or find the thread that's linked in the description, which is in the main in the general forum, and you can answer it there too. Cool, dude. All right. Well, I think that's it then for the sniper class. It's clean and clear. You all okay?
Yeah, fine by me.
Alright then. Alright, cool. So the next class is Tuesday. It's a little bit later than the other ones. It's at 8 o'clock BST UK time. That one's going to be PvE tips. PvP tips and tricks by Vahid and Zeetra. it's not about a specific class as such. It's just covering, well, tips and tricks. You know, they're going to talk about. Well, actually, I'm not going to put them in a box and say what they're going to talk about specifically because I know I'll get shouted at for that. So, but cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone. I'm going to shut it all down now.